This one's going to be interesting. Title of the article is Higher Ed Wasting Their Money on AV.
I felt this was really clickbaity. I think that any higher ed individual who read that should have been infuriated about it.
Even just the way it was framed, limited technical knowledge at the decision-making level. Huh? What are you talking about? These people, they live in this world. Like, this is all they think about. Brock, your thoughts?
What they said.
Okay.
Would you mind telling these prattling mortals to get themselves begone?
What he said.
Just a tiny bit more colour.
Right.
A new Sphere is coming. ISE product announcements ahead of the show. And are you wasting your money on AV gear? All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 753, recorded Friday, January 23rd, 2026. AV Soapbox. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV and the IT world. We have acquisitions, I am shocked, product announcements, and brand new spheres. Let's get into it. India AV integrator Online Instruments has acquired Level 3 audiovisual out of Phoenix, strengthening its footprint in the United States and expanding its ability to deliver enterprise AV programs across multiple regions. Now, Level 3 will continue operating under its current brand and leadership, which should help maintain continuity for customers while the parent organization scales delivery capacity. The bigger trend here is what we've been seeing across integration. Consolidation isn't just about size, it's also about standardizing delivery, engineering depth, and supporting multinational customers who want consistent outcomes across multiple geographies. Sony and TCL have signed a memorandum of understanding to explore a new joint venture that would have TCL take on Sony's home entertainment display business. Under the agreement, TCL would hold a majority stake while Sony retains a significant minority position, with the goal of moving toward definitive agreements by the end of March 2026, with production beginning April of 2027. If your IT team is planning PC refreshes this year, here's the warning label. RAM prices are jumping again. Reports point to AI-related demand pulling memory supply into data center builds, and the cost impact rolls downhill quickly into laptops, desktops, workstation configurations, and yes, AV gear. For AV teams, that matters because meeting room PCs, content creation systems, and even AV enterprise devices can see unexpected pricing pressure. A second Sphere venue is planned for the United States, and it's heading to National Harbor in Maryland near Washington, D.C. This version is expected to be smaller than the Las Vegas Sphere, with around 6,000 seats, but built around the same immersive concept. Projects like this represent the high end of large format display, spatial audio, control, and content performance, and they raise expectations for what premium venues and experimental environments are supposed to feel like. ISE 2026 happens in just about a week, and they have named Matt Clark, founder of United Visual Artists, as its creative keynote speaker. Session highlights quote-unquote hidden order, a projection mapping project created for Casa Batlló in Barcelona, and it's one of those moments where the show leans into the intersection of art, experience, design, and AV execution. And speaking of ISE 2026, it might be just a few days away, but the product news cycle is already rolling. Ahead of the show in Barcelona, Q-SYS, Crestron, and Logitech have all started unveiling new solutions aimed at shared buyer reality. Modern AV systems aren't isolated installs anymore. They are networked platforms that have to scale, integrate, and stay manageable long after the project is finished. Across the three announcements, the themes are consistent: simpler deployment, better remote visibility, and tighter alignment between AV and IT operations. Now, the big takeaway here is this. The market is moving toward repeatable systems, predictable outcomes, and operational scale. That's your AV news. Stick around for this week's Roundtable, where we will look at the future of e-paper in display and ask whether or not you are wasting your money on AV technology. This is AV Week.
Hey listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
All right, welcome back. Now we bring in our fantastic roundtable. With us is Gina Sansevero from Atlas IED. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to be here with two of the most amazing co-guests.
Well, first is Michelle Lorette from... You're going to have to pronounce the company's name again. I even have it written down phonetically, and I can't remember it. Itave. Thank you.
You can pronounce it however you want. I just made it up. I put IT, AV, and AI. What? There you go. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming back. And also with us is our friend from Canada, Mr. Brock McGinnis from Nationwide. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Tim. Good to be invited back.
Absolutely. And I get to see a couple of y'all in about a week or so in Barcelona for ISE. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, where you can find me, where you can find Gina, where you can find Brock. All three of us have got really busy schedules, but we got some time, some places to do. First story comes to us from our friends over at AV Buyers Club. Glass Media and Samsung are expanding their partnership with a new lineup of color e-paper signage accessories. Now, this was unveiled at NRF this month, 2026, and it was designed around Samsung's 32-inch color e-paper display. That's something I saw at last year's ISE. They made a big deal about it, and this partnership is really, really interesting to me. The pitch is a sustainability forward alternative to traditional backlit signage. It's supposed to offer a print-like, quote-unquote, viewing experience with ultra-low power needs and flexible placement options. Mr. McGinnis, we're going to start with you on this, simply because you've been around the world once or twice more than me. And Brock started off out in life designing and putting up discos. So I think that's cool. Not that this has anything to do with e-paper. I just like to bring that up. When it comes to digital signage, and quite frankly, signage in general, where does e-paper fit today?
E-paper replaces poster boards.
Okay.
So if you're going to have the same message in the same place for a long time, I think e-paper is a really valid way of dealing with that. If you've got an ever-changing message, I think you need to be connected to a CMS and have, be able to pull and schedule content. It occupies less space on the wall in terms of depth. The displays tend to be smaller, so they're designed to be read from closer up. We're currently on design on a hospital project that is using them for staff directories. So these are things that can be changed and will change, but they generally they'll be generally static. So staff directories meaning a wayfinding component that helps people get where they are. And they're a pretty cool alternative, and there's definitely a sustainability or eco story behind not having to throw away posters or printed material that go in those glass cases in the hallway and replace them with something that is kind of much more permanent.
Brock, beyond the sustainability play here, is there an accessibility play? Is it different for those who have vision impairment because it's not shiny, because there is lack of glare, there is the ability to modify contrast a little bit better? I don't know. I'm just asking. Is it something that you've been asked for from an accessibility standpoint?
I don't know the answer to that, Gina. Because I don't know anything about kind of visual acuity in people who have visual impairments. I know that from an AODA construction rules perspective, they are much, much slimmer against the wall. And so between two elevators, for example, if you have an AODA compliant display sticking out 4 inches, as people turn the corner to get into that elevator, there's a potential that they're going to catch their shoulder on a sharp corner. Whereas, these are like posters. I don't know what the depth is, but it's probably a half an inch.
Yeah.
Or it could be, it could be an inch, but it much more discreet against the wall and much less chance of catching on people's persons or clothing.
But we know how to solve that problem because we have that same standard in the U.S. of X number of inches. We put a credenza under it. We add a piece of furniture because then it doesn't matter how far it sticks off the wall.
The credenza would be great, but between the elevators,
it would be a very narrow little credenza.
Yeah, or in a corridor, it's not appropriate. And again, like I think about public institutions where people are like hospitals and schools where people are crowded going up and down the halls. There are a lot of unfamiliar visitors. There's a lot of people pushing carts or gurneys or the cleaning folks. And so I think that there's a real good use case there for e-paper as a replacement for digital signage, and people who are trying to justify that for digital signage. I'm not sure that works.
Yeah, it's not meant for dynamic content. So, you would really need to take a look at like you said, it's good for maybe a campus map. It's good for a directory, a transportation schedule, outdoors where you don't want glare. It's really almost, and because it's low energy, we never sell to low energy. Unfortunately, it's just not our jam. So, it's really almost more of a facilities play. They get more excited that, it's not measured in watts, it's milliwatts, right? And you can make it solar, use batteries.
And the article about the partnership actually shows a spectacular application, which is battery driven. Because it's milliwatts, it can be powered effectively for batteries. So temporary wayfinding, conferences and events.
Welcome messages for events, like you said.
Yeah, where the content's going to stay the same all day and just needs to be changed for the next people coming into that, wedding hall or banquet center or whatever. And they're really, those kiosks that this Glass Media has built are really attractive and much more discreet and probably an awful lot lighter than schlepping around, 65-inch TVs.
Yes. 1,000%. Well, somebody better ring up Marriott and see if they can go ahead and get a nice little bulk buy, right? Have a box sale going, all their properties, give them a special rate, register it with your national Samsung rep.
Well, and that was actually, Michelle, I'm not kidding. It was on my notes here is because I'm getting ready to hit the road, and I'm going to be hanging out with Almo 4 times this year in a hotel, doing their keynote. And one of the things about that is because, to Brock's point, that is something that can change on a daily basis or maybe once a week. But today, Marriott, to pick on Marriott, those are full-on displays, right? That, again, just shows what's in that room for the day. That's it. There is nothing moving on that screen, right? Now, tomorrow, yes, it'll be a different message because it'll have something between 8 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night and whatever. But it doesn't have to. It's not moving. There's no compelling content on there, with the exception of a schedule, right?
If I think about it, all the companies, all the integrators that are either rental and staging companies, right, or events type thing, or, maybe they're fixed install, but they also have a rental and staging division. That's a great box sale for that division to fetch because they're already working with all the hotels, so they already know who's in charge and who the decision maker, even just on a case by case basis. I don't know, just a thought.
And to your point on the rental side, it's also a good play for rental houses as well for that exact same reason. Right. Instead of renting a 65-inch display that you're paying for, you get one of these. All right. This one's going to be interesting. Gina, we are going to start with you. Our friends over at AV Magazine had an article published. Title of the article is Higher Ed Wasting Their Money on AV? Now, it's challenging a pretty common issue. Schools, universities, I'm going to extrapolate this even into corporate, where these folks are investing heavily into AV systems, according to the article, without seeing consistent outcomes, adoption, or ROI. The core argument of this article is that typically some of the AV is not necessary, but the spending gets misaligned because purchasing gets involved. There's not standardization. There's not adequate training. So there's not enough adoption to the systems that are put in. Gina, we're going to ask the same question to all three of y'all, and all three of y'all have different experiences inside the education market. But again, I'm going to extrapolate this out into corporate in general. Are these folks wasting their money on AV? I mean, what is the real reason why these projects fail? And you know, how do we have those conversations without saying, well, you don't need to put anything in, right? Because if you're wasting your money, then you shouldn't spend anything, right? That's not true. Because
I say we go back to chalkboards.
Don't even chalkboard me, right? Here in St. Louis, we've got Webster University, and a number of years ago, back when I was programming poorly, I did a couple of jobs in a math classroom that was older than all four of us put together.
Nice.
And it had the 4 or 5 chalkboards, floor to ceiling. You could move them up and down. The mathematician guy could do his thing, whatever. But Gina, yeah, I mean, how do we have these conversations with higher ed? How do we have it with corporate, who in some cases could certainly be frustrated because they're spending the money and they're spending the time and the effort. There's not adoption or there's not standardization. You know, how do we help them through this path?
Yeah. So first of all, Tim, I felt this was really clickbaity. They were looking for views, right? I also think, to be fair, I love Mason Technologies. They are a great group. This article did nothing for Mason Technologies. In fact, what it showed was a true disconnect between their customers and themselves. I think that any higher ed individual who read that should have been infuriated about it. And I'll tell you why. It minimizes the fact that higher ed has, over the past 15 years, increasingly partnered with and hired instructional designers for this very reason. 15 years plus that this has been going on. This is clearly a dated perspective from a higher ed standpoint. And again, not doing anything for Mason Technologies. I think that, sure, there are professors that choose not to use technology in certain classrooms. There are far more professors that are asking for technology in their classrooms. There are more sandboxes for technology on campuses across North America than there have been in the past. The fact of the matter is, technology is an integrated part of education. And if you think that they're spending too much, well, man, I guess they're not spending the right stuff with you. It seems very, very, I'm sorry. This one got me. And I was like, and then to draw in the K-12 side, K-12 is a completely different animal. You can't speak about technology in K-12 education in the same breath that you do as higher education. It's very different technologies, but again, integrated into everything that the students do on the K-12 side. The teachers, and my son is now a full-time high school English teacher, he had to be trained using technology in order to get his credentials to be able to teach in New York State, right? So they're teaching the instructors how to leverage technology for comprehension and for successful outcomes. if you take that away, what are you doing? Like, so I'm sorry. I'm just gonna step off the soapbox right. But like that was a little bit. I got a little bit hot about that article. I'm gonna pass it along to somebody else now. Clearly, I should not be talking about this anymore. Oh my goodness.
I can go get another cup of tea if you'd like. I'm fine. You're doing great.
I found the article so offensive, and I don't know Zoran, so I don't want to be mean. So let's start with the positive, right? I like that he discussed accessibility, neurodiversity, and classroom equity. Thought that was the only part of the article I liked. The fact that we are publishing an article in 2026 and we are including the term VGA was not on my bingo card. What are we talking about? Stop. Even just the way it was framed, limited technical knowledge at the decision-making level. Huh? What are you talking about? These people, they live in this world. Like, this is all they think about. And that's inaccurate. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. Funding pressure, meh. Here's the irony. He wrote about grants and hey, whoever, Dr. Fauci or whoever it is, that's an actual doctor at U of H. When he goes and fetches his grant, he just builds whatever he wants. Nobody even gets to say so. He knows what he wants, though. He's seen it somewhere. He's researching, whatever. He's a PhD. That's why he's getting grants. Inadequate training for educators. Okay, I worked for ViewSonic. T1V I repped. I know Smart and everybody else. Nobody deploys this stuff without training.
Not in a vacuum, right? They're not.
No,
and the training is also done on campus by the technology managers, not even the manufacturers. The technology managers who work for the school also do the training.
Like, they do train the trainers, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
So I don't. Yeah, I mean, DVD, VCR, Blu-ray player. Yes, there are some smaller rural K through 12, right? That may still have some of that, maybe-ish, but I'd be hard pressed to say where. Honestly, I'm not saying it doesn't exist in the wild. I see AV in the wild all the time, but yeah, that I can't. Brock, your thoughts?
Tim?
Yo.
What they said.
Okay.
I feel badly for both the company and the individual because obviously my co-guests have taken this personally. And I love the fact that they have taken it personally because, as Gina pointed out, there's been a sea change in the capabilities of the AV tech managers in higher ed over the last 15 years. These are no longer cart pushers whose jobs are moving a TV and a VCR from one classroom to the next. They're highly educated. They've got a great association, HETMA, that ensures that even smaller places or out of the way places have access to the same resources as the Cornells and the UCLAs, which I love. And I'm not sure if it's still the case, but a couple of years ago, I was looking up the CTS-D and CTS-I holders in Canada, and there were more that worked for public education institutions than worked in private industry. So part of that is that within an educational environment, taking courses and continuing education and getting certifications is a real boon to their careers. But part of it is the caliber of the individuals that are now work in it. So I feel badly that the writer and the company have probably expressed what they wanted to express in the wrong way. So educational institutions do have some issues with their AV spend. In many cases, I think they spend way too much on stuff that is way too cheap and disposable. They are forced by budgets. They need a camera in this classroom. They know they need a $2,500 camera. They can only afford a $1,000 camera, and that's a waste of money because that doesn't serve anything correctly. I know some of the paperwork because I'm primarily engaged in new construction and major renovations. I see some stuff on drawings that really makes me scratch my head, and I won't send formal questions about it. But I've been around a long time, and I have people I can call, and I can say, "Why do you have this on your drawings?" And they'll say, "The instructors made us. The professors refused to change. And so we have to accommodate for them and accommodate for the fact that some of them actually still use VHS tapes or use physical media, some of them refuse to bring a laptop, so we have to put a PC in, whatever." And so there's some waste that is involved in that. And the only part about higher ed that sometimes bothers me is that there are technology managers who, when they're equipping new spaces, they're buying stuff based on old standards. Standardization is great, but why would you put HDBaseT in today for an application that everybody else would be building with AV over IP, just because you've got an existing, gray box HDBaseT infrastructure that you started 15 years ago, or technology managers who are limited by their own knowledge. They may be certified to program in one particular language, and they don't actually know any of the others. So they're going to buy a DSP or a control system that is this brand and this flavor because, they'd have to learn the other flavor and they won't be an expert. And so those are the only areas. I think generally, and Canadian universities and colleges, it's all public money. And they are good stewards of that public money, and they spend it well. And I admire, much like the vast majority of the work that they're doing. So we are equally offended, ladies. I guess they say that any advertising or attention is good attention, but I'm not sure this will do that particular integrator or individual a lot of good in the New York market.
Well, it's just when I read it, I had to go back and check the date. Did anybody else check the date? Because I was like, what year was this written? Like, why is Tim sending me some old stuff for us to critique? And we're doing a stroll down memory lane. It just didn't seem of the moment. I mean, I've only been talking AV over IP for 15 years now. So why are you dragging out the AV carts in the VGA and talking about how you're going to need more staff? No, you don't. You will need less staff, and they don't need to get in a golf cart to go troubleshoot, right? They can just take a look at it on the network. So a lot of it just didn't pass muster. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. But one of the things that you said, which it was interesting to me, and I appreciate the perspective of at least giving some secondary point of view to that article, and you did a very nice job of that, because I wouldn't have thought of it in that way. So you brought some optimism to it. But one of the things that you said was about standards and about why wouldn't you change your standard, for example, with HDBaseT, just because you had infrastructure, or I feel like the same could be said for a lot of integrators. A lot of integrators get very safe with the products and the technologies they know. So I don't think this is a higher ed problem. It might be a human nature problem. But I don't think that this is a higher ed problem when you allow standards to marinate a little bit too long.
I don't think there's any question, Gina.
Yeah.
There's no question. And it's, sometimes I think we used to blame the integrator for what happened at certain universities, because that integrator was locked into that school and they bought all their stuff from that person. And I'm not sure that happens so much anymore, because a lot of the higher ed institutions no longer need an integrator to tell them what they need.
Right.
Right.
And no integrator is going to be able to, slide past the old inventory and let's put that in the classrooms, because, we don't need those scan converters on our shelf anymore.
Wow. Talk about throwback. Okay. Well, thank you all so much. Dude, it's only the third or fourth episode we've done this year, and it's my favorite so far. So thank you guys so much. Michelle Lorette, thank you, ma'am, from Itava.
I'm on LinkedIn, Michelle Lorette. And also, since this is dropping on Monday, we are launching first of its kind Wireshark for Pro AV masterclass. We are betaing it in Texas because charity begins at home, and this is where I live. It is a course that is developed by the Infocom 2015 Educator of the Year and author of NAVs, Paul Zealy. He knows what he's doing. He saved my integrators bacon 1 million times with his just incredible Wireshark skills, and we want to empower and raise up the industry and make everybody better and make it worth their while. It's a 2-day hands-on practical, and y'all be seeing me post some stuff on LinkedIn, so check it out. And if you want it to come to your area, let me know, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, tell Mr. Zealy we said hi, because he is seriously still one of the smartest people in the industry that I know.
Michelle, is that so? This is a commercial product that you offer.
It is.
If you could send me some information on that, because the Professional Audiovisual Society of Canada has an independent education program.
Oh, okay.
Where we're trying to put knowledge in the hands of people in the AV business that their employers don't necessarily provide for them,
or that isn't available. Paul also built me a troubleshooting USB-C class, because why? When you're in the field and you're talking with people and, it's like stump the chump. Well, I'm the chump. So I got to call him, and he's got to geek out and set it up, in his lab at his house. And yeah, so absolutely.
If you could send that to me, that would be awesome.
Michelle, you are certainly not a chump.
No. Mr. McGinnis, how do people connect with you or Nationwide or the professional audio video folks of Canada?
So we're a little integrator in the Toronto area, nationwideav.com. I'm Brock at nationwideav.com, and can be found on LinkedIn. One of the most exciting things going in my life these days, though, is the development and growth of PAVC, the Professional Audiovisual Society of Canada. We're elevating people's careers and knowledge and career opportunities. We have a meetup. I guess, is it next week? No, it's the week after at ISE. We're calling it AV Abroad, with the A spelled the Canadian way, EH.
That's funny.
And it's okay. It's a member lunch in one of those great outdoor garden spaces. So we're hoping for nice warm weather, and that people will gather. And it's going to be a pretty full room. There are already, there's, I think, 700 or 800 Canadians at least going to the show. And it's become much more popular over the course of the last couple of years for Canadians to choose ISE. And we're looking forward to welcoming a great portion of those who are our members. This is a member-only event, so if people want to attend, they can sign up online, pavs.ca. It costs a whole 25 Canadian dollars.
It's a members-only event, but for some reason, I'm going to be there. So,
well, you're there because you're my friend.
Well, I appreciate that.
I get to invite friends.
There we go. I will be coming by, absolutely. So thank you, sir. Gina Sansevero from Atlas IED, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you or connect with Atlas IED?
Well, thank you, Tim. You can connect with me on LinkedIn for sure, or Gina.Sansevero, try to spell that last name, at atlasied.com. Atlasied.com is our website, and you can also find us at ISE at stand 2R170. That's 2R170. We're really looking forward to seeing everybody there. And we have a tapas and kava reception Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of ISE from 4 to 6 p.m. open to anybody. So I expect that the majority of you will be there.
That's great, Gina. And by the way, whether you know it or not, your Canadian distributor, SC Media, is a founding partner of PAVC, a great contributor to our organization. And I'm sure, they could bring you along for lunch as a plus one. You simply go out to the center corridor from Hall 2, up the escalator, take the moving walkway, and we're in C1 Garden between Hall 4 and Hall 5.
Okay.
12:30 to 2. A lot of your Canadian customers will be there.
Oh, I will be there, Brock. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both so much. Thank you all three so much. For Tim Albright, don't go following me anywhere, but go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. Couple things about that site. There's a brand new ed tech. Aaron Moran takes a look at comparing specs across products, a little bit like standards. We also have the last week of the AVNation Reader's Choice Award. It is the final round. It is the final week. AVNation.com. Good Lord. AVNation.tv/AVNation-best-of-2025-awards. I'm going to have to work on somebody to get a different email or a different website next year. Mitchell, put a link up if you would, please. One of those folks is Atlas IED, so you can vote for them. You can also vote for a whole bunch of other folks, so hit that up if you would, please. We mentioned ISE an awful lot this show. We are hitting the road. We will be covering ISE in Barcelona the 3rd through the 6th of February. And then I am, the very next week, going to Anaheim, because who doesn't want to go from Barcelona to Anaheim? I actually do, because this is kind of cool for me. I am keynoting the Alamo E4 event all year long in 2026. Anaheim is February 10th, and DC is March 17th. Dallas and, not Houston, Michelle, but Dallas and Boston are in the fall, so we'll let you know where those land as they get closer, but you can register for those at e4experience.com. See, that's a very nice website. Why couldn't I get that? I don't know. But yeah, go by the website. If you want to connect with me, if you're interested in things that I write that have nothing to do with technology, you can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. But be warned, it has nothing to do with technology. So you can type me with there. But go by the website if you would, please. AVNation.tv. That is AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hello, this is Steve Greenblatt, host of AVNation's A State of Control podcast. Each month, Rich Fregosa and I explore trending topics related to control programming and automation in the audiovisual industry. We speak with a variety of AV professionals who share their perspectives, knowledge, and experiences. Please join us for this monthly conversation. Check out A State of Control on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.